The left continues its attempts to purge literally everyone from everything who does not agree with their points of view. So there is a show. It is called Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Right? It's a spinoff on the Real Housewives series. And it is filled with women who are famous for doing responsible and caring and wonderful things for one another. Oh, wait, no, it's famous mostly for women being irresponsible and kind of bitchy to one another. That's sort of the basis of the show. Well, now there's one woman who has not made the cut. Her name is Jenny Wen from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And she has been thrown off the show. Why? Because her social media posts were deemed racially offensive. Her old Facebook post disparaged protesters and the Black Lives Matter movement. Fans of the reality TV show demanded that she be fired. Which fans? How many fans? 7? It's usually 7 fans. She made social media comments amid the 2020 protests that occurred following the killing of George Floyd. Wen apologized last week. Never do that. Never, ever, ever apologize. It is a waste of time. See, in a normal world, you'd apologize for stuff you do wrong. But in this world, even if you apologize for stuff you do wrong, that's just an excuse for them to chop off your head. Bravo said in a statement, "We recognize we failed to take appropriate action once her offensive social media posts were brought to our attention. Moving forward, we'll work to improve our processes to ensure we make better informed and thoughtful casting decisions." She said that she regretted writing her remarks, that I want to acknowledge and apologize for my deleted posts from 2020 that resurfaced. At the time, I thought I was speaking out against violence. I've since learned how offensive and hurtful my words were. I regret these posts. I'm sincerely sorry for the pain they caused. Now, one of the things that is super annoying about the articles like this is they never tell you exactly what she said, okay? So you actually have to dig to find what she said that was so horrifying and terrifying and absolutely evil and just the worst thing in the world. Okay, so what did she do? Okay, well, she called some people who were burning things and hurting people BLM thugs and violent gangs. Oh no, that's terrible. That's super racist. Why? Why? If you set things on fire and hurt people, I'm pretty sure you should be called a thug. I don't care what your race is. If you set fire to things and hurt people, and you are associated with Black Lives Matter, this makes you a Black Lives Matter thug. Just as if you are associated with Antifa, this makes you an Antifa thug. And if you're a person who's beating up a cop on January 6th, you're a January 6th thug. Like, this is an all-purpose word, as it turns out. But you're apparently not supposed to say it when it's associated with Black Lives Matter. What exactly did she do that was so terrible? She said, quote, "Hundreds of blacks shot, many killed, including children, by other blacks every week. Over 1,000 officers violently injured, some permanently by rioters. Anarchists rioting in major cities every night, which has caused billions of dollars of destruction to private and public property. And you still think police officers are the problem. You are an idiot." This gets you fired now? Really? Like, you say that police are the solution to crime, and that the real problem for the black community when it comes to violence against black citizens is other black people, just like the real problem for the white community when it comes to violence is generally other white people, and that the cops aren't the problem. This gets you fired now? Like, I don't understand how this is super duper terrible. Okay, and then apparently she showed another meme, and it showed 2 cartoon characters, one an elderly white woman and the other a middle-aged white man talking, with a man staring at stick figures bumper stickers on the back of her car that normally represent family members. He said, "No, that's not my family. That's how many rioters I've hit," the cartoon white woman said. Okay, I mean, politically incorrect, sure. Is that racist? It doesn't say the race of the people. They could have been Antifa protesters. Also. And then there was another one that she posted that was a picture of Ken Jeong's character from Community shouting, and it said, "If you follow the officer's orders, you won't get shot." Okay. I mean, all right. This now gets you canned because a few idiots write into Bravo. Now, listen, I don't care what happens on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I've never seen an episode. I will never watch an episode because I would rather gouge out my own eyeballs with a spoon than watch an episode of a show like that. With that said, should the lady lose her job because she said that she likes the cops and she doesn't like rioters? I'm confused. Are you supposed to hate the cops and love her? Apparently that is what is necessary right now. So that's good. Meanwhile, apparently, we are going to get the politically correct version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs if Peter Dinklage has his way. So Peter Dinklage is, of course, the actor from Game of Thrones, and he was in one of the Avengers movies, Avengers Endgame, I think. And he's very angry at Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He calls it an effing backwards story. He said, "There's a lot of hypocrisy going on. Literally no offense to anyone, but I was a little taken aback when they were very proud to cast a Latina actress as Snow White. But you're still telling the story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs." Okay, so, I mean, I'm glad that he's allowed to say it. It is sort of bizarre that the story is about a woman literally named Snow White, but it's a Latina actress. I mean, that it's strange. I mean, you can say it's a little counterintuitive casting. But what he's really mad about is that the studio depicts dwarves in Snow White and the Seven Dwarves. He says, you're progressive in one way, but then you're still making that effing backward story about seven dwarves living in a cave together. What the F are you doing, man? Have I done nothing to advance the cause for my soapbox? I guess I'm not loud enough. I don't know which studio that is, but they were so proud of it. He knows exactly which studio it was. He just wants to work for Disney in the future because Marvel is owned by Disney. By the way, Peter Dinklage complaining that stereotypes about dwarves are used in entertainment. The man would not have a career if stereotypes about dwarves were not used in entertainment. I mean, I'm sorry to say that, but it happens to be the case. I mean, Game of Thrones, he literally plays a dwarf, right? And then that dwarf violates a lot of the stereotypes, but that is part of the story, right? That is part of what Game of Thrones is playing upon. As Matt Walsh pointed out, he is correct. The entire shtick that he had an elf was a joke about him being a dwarf. And then Will Ferrell thinking that he was an elf because of it and him being offended by it. I mean, it happens to be the case that Peter Dinklage, I mean, this is his role in literally every movie. He gets cast because of his stature. I mean, this is not pretend. Isn't he in a new production of Cyrano de Bergerac? I think it's because of this again. Again, this is not a negative about dwarves, about people who suffer from dwarfism. That's not people who have dwarfism. I hesitate to say suffer from because there are a lot of people who have dwarfism who are not suffering from dwarfism. In any case, people who have dwarfism are cast in movies largely because of their dwarfism, and this happens to be the case with Peter Dinklage. Also, are we supposed to pretend that the dwarves of myth are the same as just people suffering from dwarfism now? Like this is the same thing? There are many, many tales throughout the myths of the Norse gods that are related to dwarves, right? Those dwarves also have other characteristics, like they mine a lot and churn the earth and all of this sort of stuff. Is all that offensive to dwarves now? Like what? Okay, but we're supposed to, what, just kowtow to Peter Dinklage because he has some notes about the Grimm brothers? Pretty incredible. Meanwhile, you have Neil Young telling Spotify that they should either pull his music or pull Joe Rogan. Well, I guess it's goodbye to Neil Young then, because Joe Rogan has 11 million listeners per episode. So catch you later, Neil. It is incredible how much celebrities think they get to reshape the culture around us based on the fact that we recognize some of their music and some of their faces. Who's got two thumbs and wants you to like and subscribe?